Hello there and welcome. Apparently we're live. Are we live?
Oh,
We're live. You're alive. We're definitely alive. So yeah, it's good to have your company on a Friday at 4 o'clock. We regularly bring this to you. A little bit delayed because you know satellites and all that and the weather. That's why we're a little bit later than usual. But thank you for bearing with us. But we are now live, and we're going to have a little session with our lovely Abby from. I nearly said Abeygale, but Abeygale. Abeygale is an area in Redditch, Abeygale.
Someone used to call me that when I was a child.
Really?
Because they couldn't say Abeygale, and I was Abeygale.
Abeygale.
And I was like, I just answered to it. I was like, fine, that's fine, whatever you want.
So what are we up to?
We are making a Quilter to Go placemat.
Okay.
So in my show at 2 o'clock, I showed everyone how to make one of the table runners.
Oh, right.
So now we're going to make one of the placemats, which I'm hopefully, we won't bind it, won't have time for binding, but we should be able to get the whole thing done.
Lovely. Okay, that sounds good.
And these are June Taylor kits. They are on the website. It's a set of 6 placemats. Just feel that wadding.
It's really, and I said to you before we started, is that actually printed onto the wadding? And
yeah, so the whole thing. Oh, sorry, I've moved it. I'm so sorry. The whole thing is it's all printed on, and you're following the lines of how you're placing the fabric, 1/4 inch seam allowance, flipping over. Just quickly, we don't iron.
Okay.
To the very end.
Okay.
Because you can warp the wadding.
Oh,
and then you're warping the lines.
Yes.
So there's no point. You can just finger press beautifully.
Okay.
That's what we're going to do.
I forgot to tell you that we have got the tablet here as well. So if you'd like to interact with us via Facebook, then please do so. I'll keep my eye on here. I've got the glasses as well, so I can read it and everything. And if you've got any questions that you'd like to ask about me, then do get in touch and leave us a message. So let's go for it.
Okay. So in the instructions, you've got all of the measurements for each. Strip and the centre piece as well, but in the kit that's on the website, this piece is cut. All the other pieces come as strips, and you'll cut them. It will depend on what size you want for what, so I've given you the option.
Right.
So if you want the long pieces as one particular fabric, you can, and if you want the shorter pieces something else, you can. You can interchange. So the first thing we do is on number 1 is we place our number 1 piece.
Lovely. Oh, it's like fabric painted with numbers.
It is. That's exactly what Charlie said as well. So then we go on to our piece number 2.
Lovely.
Which is here, and piece number 2 I've gone for the stars with the metallic. We did have these fat quarters, but they sold out, so I'm ever so sorry about that. But you're lining up against the blue line, so if I lift that over, you can see that blue line. You're lining your fabric up with that line. Okay, that's not your stitch line, that's your fabric line guide.
Okay.
So there, and then we're going to stitch that 1/4 inch.
Wonderful.
And I've already backed it with the backing fabric that you get in the kit. So that's how you're quilting as you're going, because you've already backed it.
Okay, and do we have to fuse that to the wadding?
You can use a temporary adhesive.
Oh, right.
So there's ones on the website. I've got one that I use, but there's ones on the website that are equally as good.
Lovely. We've got people joining us already. Hello. In fact, we've got quite a few here. Diane, I was so excited to see this. Yes, lovely ladies. I love you too. So lots of you watching. Don't forget, we have got the tablet here. So if you do want to speak to us, if you do want to ask any questions, then please do so. I'll pass them on to Abby. I might ask her a few questions from here, because I'm a bit nosy like that.
I don't mind.
Okay.
So with each one, you then, once you've stitched your 1/4 inch, I'm using black thread so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. You might want to use a red so it quilts nice and back. You're just going to flip it over and finger press.
So stitch then flip.
Stitch then flip, exactly. That's the whole thing. Stitch then flip. Then we move on to number 3. I'm going to whip this up so quickly, you'll be surprised actually.
Now this strikes me as something that even a novice sewer could have a go at.
Totally. And there's a lot of sewers out there that want to have a go at quilting but are a bit nervous. This is the perfect introduction.
Well, this is true because you've got the affordability of the bundle, and of course do go back and watch Abby's show if you do want to get hold of the kit, because of course you're going to have your fabulous elements there to get you started straight away.
Absolutely. As soon as that comes through your door, you're going to be able to start. Now, I've stopped here because each section is its own section. We don't want to stitch into that next section.
Okay.
Where the line is, that's where we want to stop, because that means at the back our quilting is going to be precise.
Okay, so you don't go over the boundary.
No, exactly. Okay. Yeah, think of that as no-go area. And then again, finger press that one out.
Look at that.
And the next one, again, number 3, so it is quilting by numbers. And it doesn't matter if you've if it's too long, if you have cut it too long, because that's going to go into the next seam allowance and so on and so
get
forth.
hidden, yeah.
So it totally works.
Wonderful.
So
and do you need a fancy pants machine to do this?
Absolutely not. Straight stitch. You could do this by hand.
Oh, right, okay.
Because all you're doing is a straight stitch.
Lovely.
If you want, I guess you could do something decorative as long as your edge is straight, because you have to have that flip.
Yes.
But as long as you've got a straight, so there's some that have got lovely things, but a straight edge, you could do that.
And I'm guessing that if you wanted to, you could go back in and do a top stitch on each of those seams if you wanted something more decorative with it.
I've gone off slightly wonky there, but we won't worry about that too much.
Now, within the kit, what are you able to make? How many placements? 6. Oh,
and they're all really good sizes. I'm going to measure this actually. So this is a completed one that we're doing.
That's a good size, yes.
So it is 18 3/4 inches by 4.5 inches.
That's a good size,
that's a good size. And look, you can see the quilting on the back, how wonderful it looks, how precise.
Beautiful. And that's because of those seams, the way that you create them.
Exactly. Isn't that beautiful?
Very clever.
So I shall continue on.
Love that. That's a nice size as well. So if you've got something like a tray, or you could quite easily use that on there.
Yeah, so if there's 4 of you in the family, you've got 2 left over, they'd be great for the middle of the table or in the living room.
Could you actually stitch them together? So could you do them end to end?
Yes, and in fact, the... I can't get it, and I've got a runny nose now. The placemats, they all come as one big printed piece.
Okay.
So you cut into it to make them placemats. But a lady asked the question in the last show, and you could put sashing between.
Nice.
So you could actually use the whole thing as a quilt.
It's a clever
Why
idea,
not?
Isn't it? Yeah, go for it.
I'm just going to totally do that because I think it's an awesome idea. Right, piece number 4. Again, using your blue line as a guide. And from that blue line going 1/4 of an inch in. You can do more, a larger seam allowance if you want to, but just make sure that you're consistently doing it throughout the whole piece.
Okay, and I noticed that you're not actually pinning these pieces in place.
No, I mean you can, but I find that the wadding is sort of grabs so well that I don't need to.
Okay.
So again, all the way down. Just get that straight. Making sure not to go into that next section.
And there we go.
Can you see that there? Yep. And then I'm going to flip it over.
Together.
And look at that. So you're already well on your way.
You certainly are.
Isn't that beautiful?
And Mavis, you are so right. Mavis is saying here, hi, it looks good. It certainly does look good.
Yes. It's just
amazing how quick this is building up.
It's great fun because you don't need to concentrate.
Yes, yeah.
And it's just something that you can make and just be so proud of.
Just straight lines, that's the beauty of it.
Line up that one. But look how quick it is. It's no joke, is it?
It's fabulous. I love this idea. Nice and easy, and it's one of those kind of achievable things as well. Confidence builder, perhaps.
Yes, definitely.
And if you have a look on the website or check back on Abby's shows, you'll be able to see the kits that she's working with. And if you wanted to go for multiples, then you can do, because as we said, they're perfect for you to put together as the placemats as intended originally. But then you can add in your own fabric. You could quilt them, make them into a tabletop quilt or a table runner. There's loads of ways you can work with it.
There we go. Now, so that's number 6. So number 7 is over the other side. I'm just going to turn that round.
Now, I did give you a little bit of warning, Abby, about me being nosy.
That's okay.
Can you cast your mind back to when you started sewing? What would have been the first thing that you stitched? Can you remember? Would it have been when you were a child? Or
completely, and it would have been Barbie clothes.
Oh, yes.
I can remember my mum used to get a magazine subscription come through with patterns in, and I always used to look at. I used to love to look at them, and she used to make me all my clothes and things like that. And this particular one had Barbie clothes in.
Lovely.
And I really, really wanted, so I was allowed to help and make the Barbie clothes, and I was just so pleased with them. I can remember one of the Barbies. It was like it was almost essentially like a stocking dress. It just was one piece and went over, and I was so proud of it. I just thought it was the best thing.
Well, the beauty is, I'm guessing that your mum could have made you a dress, and then you could have made one for your doll that was exactly the same.
Yeah, see, we never did that.
Oh.
A deprived child, that's what it was.
I blame the parent.
Yeah, I blame the parent. I was dragged up. But yes, I was, oh goodness, I can't even remember how long I've been sewing for.
And is it being passed on through the generations? I mean, your kids, do they get involved with sewing?
It's funny. My youngest, he's 6. He's made a quilt for his bear.
Wow.
He bought this bear. I'm talking ginormous. It's like 4 foot.
Sounds like it's bigger than him.
Yeah, he said I've got to make it a blanket. So he made a blanket. He got over 2,000 likes on Facebook of this blanket.
Good for you.
So he was beyond thrilled.
That Seb?
Yes, Seb.
Oh, fabulous.
Lily helps me make samples sometimes, so she's really good on the machine.
I love child labour.
Yeah, and Jaden, he doesn't help me, but he did do a textiles class, and he did know they had the same machine as me.
Oh.
So he knew what to do. So he must have just gone in.
They do wonder whether it's in the genes, you know.
Yeah, I feel like he knew. So, and he made it was a misfit animal, so it had, what was it, misfit monster, misfit something, with buttons and bits and pieces all over it.
Love that creativity.
And he gave it to Seb.
And so we've got more and more of you watching, so it's good to have your company. Every Friday at 4 o'clock, we try to bring you a Facebook Live. It can be of a different variety. Sometimes it's introducing you to what's going on backstage, meeting some of the people that help us bring you the shows, and sometimes we have a fabulous session with one of our guests here, and that's what we've got today. If you've got any questions that you're wanting to ask that are sewing related, or perhaps, like I've just been asking of Abby how she got involved with sewing, then get in touch via Facebook. So if you do want to actually put your message there, I can pick that up from there, and we'll ask her live here.
So this is piece 9. So you're already 9 pieces in. Now this line here, because we're going to trim off, it doesn't matter if you go into it with your stitching. It's not the same as in here. We can go into here, so don't worry too much about the precision of that.
Kind of running over the edge.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So there's another section done.
Lovely.
But look how I'm not even really vigorously finger pressing that, but the wadding is grabbing it.
Beautiful. I love the fabrics that are in this bundle. But of course, other than the centre, you can just decide how those strips come together.
Completely. You can. It's completely up to you. You might want to do. You might want to start with the green, because you've got. This is. I've given you enough for this to be the binding, because this is the one that's got the smallest print.
Okay.
And I felt like a binding
lends itself well
exactly.
to it.
But you might want that there because you've got some for the middle as well. You might want it there. It's entirely up to you.
Well, you might want to incorporate some of your own fabrics as well, and perhaps use some of the fabrics in the kit for something else.
Yes, you could be making all sort of way. You've got they're 2-inch strips, so you know there's the world is your oyster. Right. Place this one.
Got lots of people out there watching us, so good to have your company. I think Janice as well is joining. Lottie, you are out there as well. Good to have your company. I'm sure there's a way that gives me all the names on here, but for the time being, I don't know.
You just
I'm being told. I just know you're there. I know we're not on our own.
There we go, another one done. So that was number. Oh, I've got. That was 11, but this is 10.
Oh.
So I'll just go back to 10.
But because they're on opposite sides, it doesn't matter, I'm guessing.
No, it doesn't. It completely doesn't. And like the table runner, the numbers take you through the whole piece.
Okay.
So you'll be building out like this, but you could, once you've done the centre, do one side and then the other side.
Right. Okay.
But a lot of the time, if we're new, it's great to just follow the numbers.
Well, it is. Makes it nice and easy, doesn't it? So don't want to overcomplicate things.
There's no thinking. And I do think, like Lily, she'd be able to do this no problem. So if you've got young stitchers, think of the sense of achievement.
This is very true. Now, I know, Abby, you're very busy with Avid Crafts.
Yep.
And of course, that's your own business. It's the beginning of the year, wasn't it? You got started.
We launched on October the 1st.
Oh, right.
Yeah, my sister's birthday.
Lovely.
I wanted to steal her thunder.
Well,
so I
that's
thought,
one way
what
of
can
doing
I
it.
do? I know. I'll launch a business.
I love that idea. I know you've got lots of your time's taken up by designing and bringing us new things. Is there anything that you're working on as your own sewing projects at the moment?
Well, the table runners I did for me first.
Okay.
And I got the fabric, and I knew that I was going to bring the fabric to Hochanda, and I did this one first, and I thought, I think everyone's going to love those.
Yeah, I can understand why. It's fabulous.
I do tend to start a lot of things for myself, never get a chance to finish.
Then you share them with us.
Yeah, then I do share, and It's tricky. It's tricky. Like the stair tidy for the patterns.
Oh yes, I love that.
That was something that I made for myself that I thought actually, and the feedback on that has been phenomenal.
And lots of these things that we're chatting about here, if you've not seen the shows previously, jump onto our website, because at the top of the website is a brand section, and that's where you'll be able to find Avid Crafts and all these things that we've been chatting about. Got lots of comments popping up on Facebook. So Marge, hello.
Hi, Marge.
Patricia saying hello as well.
Hello.
And Diane is asking, well, I don't know if she's asking a question or making a comment, but we've got here, I've only had a sewing machine for a few months, so many patterns are very scary, but I do know that if I watch your shows, I know that I can and will eventually create some great sewing work. Thank you. That is the beauty of us here at Hochanda, Diane, because we do like to do that, and these are the perfect sessions to do so. But of course, you've got your own Facebook page, you've got your own website, so there's lots of tutorials that Abby does that we might not necessarily get to see here at Hochanda, so do check those out. But of course, we try to bring you as many as we can here.
I think that's
lots
the great
of fabulous
thing.
Sewing guests.
I think that's the great thing about Hochanda is because when all us guests come on, we try and show you the bits that you might struggle with.
Yes, yeah.
So if there are other bits that you struggle, we're always contactable.
Oh, yeah,
you know, you can message us, you can email us. I always say to email me because I get so many messages. It's best if you email, then I can filter.
Yes,
it's a lot easier. And
You're
I'll
a busy
answer
mum
any of
as
your
well as a
questions.
businesswoman, so yes, we do expect you to have a little bit of a life of your own too.
Oh,
Now we're getting to the corners.
We've got literally 4 strips and then we're at the
Wow.
corners. So look at that. I feel like it's just beautiful.
Gosh, that's come together
and
so
then
quickly.
The back will be slightly messy because I haven't trimmed my threads. But once I trim the threads,
That's so neat, though.
isn't that so neat?
Yeah, the sewing itself, lovely.
Just beautiful. And again, you can use whatever thread you want. Maybe a metallic.
Yes.
To make it really. Sorry, I licked my finger.
Oh, I
such
do
a
that
bad
all the
habit,
time.
isn't it?
Kind of, we're just sitting there having a little chat. And I know
that's
that there
it.
are people out there that will comment, but yeah.
I know.
It's one of those things. We can't
it.
help but relaxing and doing our thing.
But we are
Just say our
so.
Christmas tree looks a bit bare, doesn't it? It's
Oh,
just got
I
a few
felt like I
baubles
almost
on
had
it.
to
Needs some
apologise
colour.
for it on its behalf.
looking a bit
have
sad.
you seen the LeBlanche Christmas tree?
Well, yes. I mean, I'm looking across the studio at the moment, and if you've not seen that show, oh my goodness, do stay tuned because that's coming up at 5 o'clock. But yeah, it does look a little bit dismal.
I wondered if they'd notice me sort of trying to lift it and carry it across
Swapping
the
the trees
studio, but
over.
I do feel like I would be, someone would see me, because no, I'd drop it, let's be honest.
Now, of course, we've got lots of people watching, many of you sewers out there. So, Diane and Mavis, Marge, Patricia, let us know, what sort of things are you into sewing-wise? Are you quilters? Are you home decor creators? A little bit of dressmaking, perhaps? I don't know. And how did you get started with your sewing? Any hot tips you can share with us?
Oh, yeah, we like hot tips.
We're not going to be here for that much longer because it's come together so quickly, these placemats. But if you have got anything that you'd like to share with us, then please do so. It's your opportunity, and we'll be able to share it with everybody else who's watching.
I definitely want to get more into dressmaking, actually. It's something I've been looking a lot more into.
Yes,
because I do enjoy it.
Yes.
But it's finding the time. But if I can dedicate the time via work,
Yes.
then it's a bit of an excuse, isn't it?
Yeah, similarly here, it's finding something that kind of hits all the kind of ticks for everybody. Because
Yes.
so many different variants. Obviously, talking about garment size and different designs.
Yes.
What one person likes, another person loads. So yeah, it's quite tricky. But yeah, I know there's a few people that have mentioned about us doing more kind of dressmaking. Well,
That's one of
is there anything I can do to help? And I know you've got lots of help at home
I
as well.
appreciate all
haven't
the
you?
help. But that's one of the great things about patterns that I've done on the website is because then people can supply their own fabric.
Yes, yeah.
And their own home decor colours, which I think is really cool.
Nearly there with this design. As you can see, it's just those corner pieces going in place, working your way around. So, do we know how many different sections
Oh, I've
there
run
are
out of
in
bobbin.
here? Oh,
How many different strips?
what's the highest number? Is it
21.
21. Gosh, that's nothing at all, is it?
Two
So I'll show you
seconds.
some of those other items we've got here, just as Abby has been showing.
Oh God, that is depressing.
Alex does it every single time. 21 pieces, one for every year of his very young life, bless him.
What year was he born?
I don't know.
98.
Good.
I left secondary school in 99.
I've got handbags older than Alex. Have a look Look at this.
It's not right.
Absolutely beautiful. And of course the centrepiece there, you can see echoing the design of the placemat that we've been working with. But then of course this continues out to the outer parameters of this table runner. Again, do go back and watch Abby's shows that were broadcast a little bit earlier on today. And again, I love this design. It's almost like you've got plaited fabrics running through the middle of this one.
Yeah, that's really beautiful, isn't it? That's sort of like, I think that's a more modern, that's sort of the party one. So if you're having a party, that's the one you'd bring out.
Yes.
For every day, the other one's the one you'd have on your table.
Yes, lovely. And of course, Christmas time, it's all about getting the home ready, isn't it? So absolutely beautiful. Now, we've not got too long left here, but I'd like to know a little bit more. Have we had any quick more comments come through? Nothing as yet. What about Christmas? Christmas traditions. Have you got any Christmas traditions in your house?
There's so many, Hayley.
Really?
There is so
take
many.
us through an Abbey Christmas on Christmas Eve.
Oh.
What traditions have you got?
Okay, so we have to go out and run the lines of the park. So on the park, you know where they've got the football lines?
Yeah.
The children have to run every single one of those lines.
Oh, right,
because they're so
okay.
hyperactive.
Okay.
We go out to run the lines.
So is this something that you invented yourself?
Yes. Well,
okay.
One year Jaden was particularly excited, and my mum messaged say take him to the park, and took him to the park, and they have to, the lines, run all of those lines. So now every year, but then we moved, so we had to find new lines.
Okay, fair
So we
enough.
found new lines, and then they have a Christmas Eve box with pyjamas and
lovely.
hot chocolate and a movie in.
Yeah.
Then we do that, and then we do the Santa Claus needs the mince pie and the milk.
Oh, I want to borrow a child at Christmas because mine are all they're 18 now, so I don't
you
really
can borrow
see
mine.
them at Christmas.
I've got 3. You can borrow all of them, Hayley. I don't mind. I mean,
Mummy doesn't mean that.
no, I do.
I've got 2 dogs now and they keep me busy.
No, I love Christmas more and more because it was sort of when I was in my late teens, I was sort of it's all right, whatever.
Yeah.
But the children, they just make it, don't they?
This is it. And where do you migrate towards your mum's, or do you stop at home and everybody comes to you?
I like to have everyone to me
Okay.
because I'm a control freak.
But you're a fabulous baker as well, so I can understand why people would want to come to you.
I like to have my Christmas dinner exactly how my mum used to make it.
Okay.
Now, my mum could make it for me, but she doesn't do roast potatoes now like I do.
Okay.
And I have to have the particular roast potatoes. It all has to be exactly how I want it, never mind everybody else.
There's nothing controlling about that at all.
And all the
I think.
traditions have to stay the same. So my husband tried to introduce traditions. I can't even remember what they are because they didn't
last
make
long.
the cut.
Okay.
Because I wasn't going to do it. It's like, what did I do as a child? Like, for instance, we don't have stockings, we have sacks. And they're Hessian sacks.
Okay,
So
right.
they've got, because mine, oh God, this sounds terrible. Mine was a potato sack.
Oh, right. Okay.
That
We
had my
used to have one
name
of my dad's
stenciled.
socks.
See? But they have now, my grandma made them sacks, Hessian sacks, but they are, she's a stitcher extraordinaire.
Oh,
so
I know,
they are
I've seen,
beautiful.
yes.
They've all got their names embroidered on. They're stunning.
I love it, yeah.
And it's that smell.
Actually, it is actually.
Yeah.
It's just that cinnamon for me. If I smell cinnamon any time of year, I think about Christmas.
Yes.
I was thinking back to Christmas Eve when we were kids. We used to have, and I'm sure it was like a football sock or something like that. It didn't even look like a Christmassy sock.
See, but I
I'm
think
hoping
that's...
it was a clean sock. I never really thought to ask when I was a child.
Did it always have a satsuma in?
It did. There's always a satsuma in there.
My
And then there was
children moan.
the chocolate pennies. Obviously, Father Christmas is bringing all of these goodies and put them in
Yeah.
there.
They say, why have we got a satsuma? We're not going to eat it.
It's tradition. You have
It's
to.
tradition, and you've got to leave it in there for at least 5 days so it goes mouldy.
And
That's the
traditionally, you have
tradition.
to eat the whole of a selection box before breakfast.
Completely. Oh, we used to do a fry up on Christmas morning, but one particular year I did the fry up, then I've unthreaded my machine, then made the Christmas dinner and threw all the Christmas dinner away.
Yes, that's
because
a lot,
nobody
yeah.
ate it.
Yeah, well, I must admit, I do like a nice breakfast on Christmas Day, but that is the downside. You're still full up, aren't you? You've got no room for
So yeah, we
for
do
everything else.
croissants now, and I buy those frozen ones that you bake yourself.
Oh, nice.
Because
Always that smells fabulous in the house.
Oh yeah, it's wonderful. And last year we had all of my husband's side of the family come and stay the night, and so all the cousins woke up together on Christmas morning.
Oh, that's fabulous.
It was
That
amazing.
reminds me of a certain film where somebody got left behind, though. Maybe we woke up in the same house. Talking of which, have you ever been tempted to go away for Christmas, go abroad?
To leave them alone.
No, not you disappear. It's like a reverse of that film where you just disappear and they all spend Christmas in the house.
The only place we'd ever go, we'd go to the Black Forest.
Oh yes,
We'd
nice.
definitely go to the Black Forest because I was born in Germany,
Oh, I
and
didn't know
my
that.
husband, I feel like he's a bit of a stalker, to be honest.
Okay.
Because my dad was in the army.
In a nice way.
Yeah, in a nice way. So my dad was in the army, so I
Okay.
was born in Germany. My husband's dad was in the RAF.
All right.
So he went to Germany after I'd left.
Okay.
And then he's been posted near me. We've sort of moved around the
Followed you
country. Yeah,
round.
he has followed me
Ooh.
around.
And he caught up with you in the
He
end.
did. He caught up with me. Bless him.
Oh, and that's lots of people are recommending. Yes, Satsuma and a colouring book. Yes,
And yes,
yeah.
totally a colouring book.
Yep, a long sock, Satsuma sweets, a mini toy inside to keep us quiet for a while in the morning. My mum had exactly the same thing, Ken. That was the idea.
completely.
You had this little stocking in your bedroom, and that kept you, let them have another half an hour of
Yeah,
sleep, I think.
exactly. I'm always up first, though. I get up at like 4 in the morning waiting.
I love it that we share so many memories.
Yeah, and I have to go in and wake them up. Right, so I've done all the pieces of fabric.
Okay.
So now we're going to trim it. So remember when I said, I don't know if I actually told you, Hayley, but I told Charlie, you've got a sort of a cross here.
Okay.
Now these are your lines for stitching, your cutting, and that's why we don't cut straight to here.
Yeah.
We use these as our guide. So if I line that one up,
Oh, you find them on the
and then the
corners,
top one
right?
up,
Okay.
I can then cut this and turn to the next one.
Lovely.
It's not quite long enough, Max. I've got it the other way around. If I find that one, and then I find that one, and just make sure that one is lined up.
Oh, I love this. Annette's just said, oh yes, always felt pens. And they always ran out by lunchtime as well,
there was-
didn't
yeah,
they?
bad quality,
Yeah.
but that's what it is. My children say to me every year, why is it that we've got pens again? Why is it we've all got the same pens? Why is it? Because it's tradition. One year they all got little black boards, chalkboards.
Oh yes, yeah.
But why have we all got one?
Well, the thing is, if somebody got something different, then everybody would want that particular one.
Exactly.
So I used to have that with twins. I've got twins, and you used to always have to buy everything in twos. So then there wasn't any argument.
That's exactly what I do. Exactly. Right, and we are nearly. I'm just going to start slightly off there because I haven't got enough space.
Look at that. Now, of course, bar the binding, it's pretty much done.
And then that's it. Apart
Look
from the
at
binding,
that.
and then you would press it at this stage.
Okay.
Because now it's exactly how it should be. You can press it and then put your binding on, and you've got a placemat.
Wow, doesn't
and
that
the
look
back,
amazing?
if I just trim a couple of the stitches.
See, this is the thing that's so beautiful. Because you've been working on it and you've been following those straight lines and stopping where you needed to, all the quilting has been done through all those layers. You don't have to go
Exactly.
back through and do stitch in the ditch or anything like
No,
that.
as once you put your binding on, you're done. And it's straight lines because you're following an already printed straight line. You've not had to go off.
And that's wonderful, because I think we got started probably about half an hour ago, something like that, maybe a little less than that. And this has come together so quickly. Now, of course,
There
you've
you
got to trim down all those different pieces to get them to the right size. But how fast is that?
So that's the back. Really neat.
It's wonderful, wonderful.
And
Now,
then-
what we've got going on Facebook. Oh, Annette, you've got twin brothers.
Oh, wow.
And one always had a red dressing gown and the other had blue. Now, is that because they're identical? Because that was my one fear.
Yes.
I mean, I knew that I'd got a boy and a girl when I was having my twins. But, yeah, when I was pregnant with my first son, Matthew, I always thought to myself, before I knew that I was just having the one, what if I have twins and they're identical? Will I be able to spot them apart? But, yes, red and blue
That's a
dressing
good
gowns, that would
idea.
do it, wouldn't it?
I remember at school we had some two brothers that were twins, and their mum used to send them in because obviously the uniform is exactly the same,
Yeah.
but they would have different colour socks on.
Oh, I see. So that's
we
how
could
you could tell.
She could obviously tell, but we couldn't. So different colour socks.
Lovely. And Diane's got 5 sisters, so just one of us would open a present because we would all have the same. It's almost like a discount for buying in bulk, that, isn't it, Diane? I love
That's
that. Thank you for
fabulous.
sharing those stories.
That's fabulous. Am I done?
That is it. Is that fabulous? I love it. Abby, thank you so much. It's my first ever Facebook Live, so it's been really good fun.
Yeah,
thoroughly enjoyed it, and thank you to you guys out there for being a part of it as well. Hope you've enjoyed our little session here, and of course do stay tuned because we've got lots coming up. We're going to be going live again at 5 o'clock with Final Call with our one-day special, and of course at 4 o'clock next Friday there will be another Facebook Live. Won't be me, unfortunately. Well, unfortunately
or
for me.
I'm sorry.
Or Abby. So
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
you guys will be able to be the consistent. You'll be able to be there. So for the time being, thank you very much, and thank you again,
Thank
Abby.
you.
And yeah, stay tuned. More coming up later on. Thanks. See you. Bye.